Tuesday night Krug show. Look who's in the house. The great Raj Melwani from RSF 49ers. We got a lot to get to. Venezuela wins the WBC. We pushed back by a half hour because I wanted to see the end of it. And did I watch the U.S. win? No. I watched the U.S. gag. Off and running Tuesday night on the Krug Show. Hope everybody's loving your great day today. Welcome to the Krug Show, brought to you by Pig and a Pickle. The best barbecue in all of Northern California is Pig and a Pickle. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out, and they do run out. So get there early, get some brisket chili. Tell them the Krug sent you. They've got a third location opening in Petaluma. Also, thanks to our good friends at Habbas Law. And Habbas Law is doing something very, very cool. Habbas Law is covering pet adoption fees at San Jose Animal Care Center on Saturday, March the 28th, all day long. That's right. They're covering adoption fees for every dog, every cat, every bunny, every squirrel, every whatever. Every hamster, every iguana. Every possible animal that you're going to adopt, they are going to pay the adoption fees. So right now, the incredible animals are waiting behind kennel doors, some for weeks, some for months, some for longer. So March 28th, they're waiting for their next person to step into their life, and that could be you. So come meet your new best friend. Walk in with a generous heart and leave with, a life-changing friend. And thanks to them for sponsoring this. This is an awesome initiative. Really love Habbas Law. Thank you to Habbas Law for doing this. They care about their community. Once again, it's March 28th, Saturday, March 28th at the San Jose Animal Care Center. And the address, it's 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., 2750 Monterey Road. Is the location. Habbas Law, rough on injustice with a heart for paws.
Wow.
So thanks to Habbas Law. Seriously, thanks to Habbas Law. Also, thanks to Alomar Marina for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. Check them out online. AlomarMarina.net. You can float on the Sacramento River and dine, have breakfast or lunch. 5999 Garden Highway. Voted best specialty cocktails in Sacramento. They're open Wednesday through Sunday, Wednesday through Saturday, 11 to 7, Sunday, 9 to 4. Drive up on your boat, have some shrimp tacos, dock your boat, watch the game, hang out, dine while you float. There you go. AlomarMarina.net. Check it out online. Also, thanks to Novato Chevrolet. Go see my man, David Corral. He's the man to go see. He will get you a steal of a deal. Novato Chevrolet. Outstanding dealership. Gus is the owner. They've been there for decades. High-quality dealership. Top-flight service, top to bottom. They'll buy your used car even if you don't buy a car from them.
Wow.
Hey, seriously, they're real deal. Mention David Corral. He's the man to go see. He'll get you a steal of a deal. Once again, tell him that Krug sent you. All right. We are off and running on a Tuesday night. The latest is that Spencer Burford's a Raider. What do you think of that? I don't have the terms in front of me, but he has signed with the Raiders.
Yeah.
And he went there earlier today. The Niners never really showed any real interest in signing him. I don't know if they didn't like him, if it was just because of the mistake that he made in the Super Bowl, or if they just felt like his price tag wasn't right. But they didn't show a lot of interest in re-signing him. And he went to the Raiders to visit today, and he stayed.
Yeah.
He signed a deal.
Good for him. Nice guy. But now, Larry, he gets the pleasure of trying to block Chris Jones twice a year. You know how that went in the Super Bowl. It didn't go too good. And I don't care. Niner fans, if you look at the comments on social media, they're pretty happy he's gone. They don't like him. He started a bevy of games for the Niners. I feel like his rookie season, he showed some promise, but he just never developed into what we thought he could be. I wish him all the best. It was a 1-year deal. Good luck to him. And, I'm glad he got a fresh start or second chance somewhere. Niners weren't bringing him back. They already said they got to, upgrade the left guard position, before the offseason started. That right there was John Lynch saying, he gone. So I didn't expect him to come back. Good for him. Good dude. I'd messaged him. We talked a lot over the years. I did some interviews with him. So to me, he was like a good guy, like a nice guy. But on the field, didn't put it together. So good for him. And I hope he can turn his career around and wish him all the best. But now, Chris Jones and him, twice a year. Good luck.
Well, and I guess, I mean, here's the question. The Niners need a left guard. Now, they may need a tackle eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But this year, they've got Colton McKivitz, and it sounds like they're going to have Trent Williams. We don't know for sure. That's still kind of up in the air. But assuming Trent is back and McKivitz is back, would left guard might be the only spot in their lineup where they're looking for a starter. Now with Burford or Raider, they need a starter.
Mm-hmm.
So would you go left guard in round one? Would you go with a future tackle that you play at guard in round one? Do you look at edge or, Richard Sherman says safety, he thinks is.
Yeah, not a safety in round one. I mean,
there's Dylan Thieneman. There's Emmanuel McNeil Warren. There's some good players there for sure at safety. What do you think is the priority now?
Draft. Yeah. Good question. I still think that they might even though they got Christian Kirk and Mike Evans, it sounds crazy. They still might get another receiver because, okay, you got Cowing and Watkins. Right there, they've unproven. Ricky Pearsall, gotta stay healthy. Mike Evans, great, but 32, 33. How many years are you really gonna have him for? It's really a 1 year deal. Maybe you keep him for 2. Christian Kirk, 1 year deal. So you might still get that Cooper, that Debo type slot guy. Maybe. I'm not saying that's their main priority, but if he's the best available, you gotta take their receiver. But I still think now with the way the roster's set up with Bryce Huff out, you gotta go edge. If they can get a premier edge, I think that's the way they go. Although I would love for them to get an offensive lineman. I was thinking about this today, actually, before we came on the show. The Niners do not care about the offensive line like you care about the offensive line, like I care about the line, like the chat cares about the offensive line. They don't care about it like us. We want to get an offensive lineman. We want them to get the heir apparent to Trent Williams. But is there a guy at 27 that's going to be the heir apparent that good? I feel like when Trent Williams is gone, they're going to go get a blockbuster guy. They'll go get like a Tristan Wirfs type guy. I have a feeling they'll do it. They got rid of Joe Staley.
You mean a veteran? You mean a veteran player?
Yeah, Joe Staley retired. They got Trent Williams. I think eventually, when the time comes, they'll honor the left tackle position. They'll figure it out. I really do now. I started to think about. I was like, you know what? They're going to go get someone when they need to. When the time comes, the time's not now. They'll figure out this Trent Williams situation. I do agree. Guard is probably a major need. They're not going to take a guard in the first round. That's just not the 49ers MO. Now, I think they'll get a good, solid guard in the draft, but I just don't think they're going to take him at the first round. That's just not the way the Niners operate. It's either going to be an edge or the best available skill position. That's the way I see it coming out.
I love the Penn State kid, Venga Ione. He's really good. 6'4", 320. I love Emmanuel Pregnon. I love Jennings Duggar as a left guard.
I like Duggar.
I love Keelan Rutledge, and I think Rutledge would be the guy that I would probably go for. I don't know. I'll say this. I look at where they're at in the first round, and I was looking at a mock draft today, and I think the Niners are going to get really lucky in that they're going to sit there at 27. And you got the Cardinals at the top of the first. You got the Rams who potentially, and there's these teams that want Ty Simpson. The mocks that I'm seeing have Ty Simpson on the board in around 25, 26, 27. So, you know what? If I were the 49ers, I think I might, allow somebody to trade up for Ty Simpson and see if I could get that third round pick back that I just traded for Osa. Okay. And trade down from the first into the second round, have 2 2s and maybe get a 3 for doing it, and then start filling your holes in round 2. Get a receiver. I think there's a lot of round 2 receivers. There's give an example. If this were the scenario, if I could do what I wanted, I would trade back from 27 most likely into the top of the round 2.
Okay.
And then I would probably go with one of the offensive linemen, either a tackle that I really liked or, Jennings, Duggar, Keelan Rutledge, Emmanuel Pregnon, guards, plug and play guards. I think I would use one of the picks, as you said, maybe on a wide receiver. Carnell Tate, Mekhi Lemon, Jordan Tyson, Denzel Boston, Omar Cooper. Those guys are going to be gone. But when you get into that second round, Kevin Concepcion, Zachariah Branch, Chris Bell. There's reason for us to believe that the Niners like Chris Bell, Jeremy Bernard, Chris Brazel, Ted Hurst, Malachi Fields. They're all in that second, third round range. And then I would try to use the third pick on, so like, give me one offensive lineman, maybe a guard, give me one receiver, and give me one edge rusher. Maybe in the second round, I'm getting Gabe Yakis from Illinois or Zion Young, Malachi Lawrence, R. Mason Thomas, something like that. One of those guys. If they could wind up with an edge rusher, an offensive lineman, and a receiver in their top 3 picks, that might be the way to go. I will say this, though, more so than being tied to any individual position, I think, like, overarching above all of it, the Niners need greatness. They don't need anything. They need great. Like, I would take a great anything over, a good guard, a good receiver. If you have a great corner or a great safety or a great tight end or a great running back, if you have a great player over a player at a need at a position that you're looking for, I think the Niners need to go for the greatest players that they can find.
Yeah.
Not just, well, we needed a left guard, and this guy played left guard at, University of whatever, and he was the highest rated guy we had on our board, so we're going with him. It's like,
yeah,
no.
they need to get the best players available. I think
they need a Pro Bowler. They need an All Pro. They need. I mean, I was looking at this. Somebody asked me in a online one of the comments in one of the videos I did. Someone said, "Who are the best 5 players that the 49ers have drafted in the last 5 drafts?"
Oh, God.
And that's a good question. So I went and looked it up. And this is what I have. Brock Purdy, Upton Stout, Demo Lenore, Talanoa Hufanga, who's no longer with us. And then that last one really could have gone any direction. You could have gone McKell, you could have gone CJ West, you could have gone Dom Pooney, you could go, anybody you like. I went with CJ West because I think CJ West, when it's all said and done, is going to be really good. So I got CJ West, Hufanga, Lenore, Stout, and Purdy. Those guys have combined for no Pro Bowls, right? Or did Hufanga make one this year?
No, didn't Hufanga make one?
Did Lenore make it?
Lenore's not been a Pro Bowler, but I think Hufanga wasn't he All Pro?
Okay, so maybe so you've got like one player there who's Pro Bowl or All Pro, and he's not even on the team anymore.
I know.
In the last 5 drafts.
And that's what I always say about the Niners is they try to just draft like the fit guy, the guys that fit who they want to be about, like these good quality kids. I don't care if he is the Niner. Oh, he personifies Niner. Get a good play. That's why the Seahawks and the Rams continue to stay good because they draft so good. Look at their drafts, like JSN and all the people they've put together at the Seahawks and the Rams. They've drafted some damn good players. It's like, man, who cares about like scheme fit? Just get some damn great football players. Like if the guy is good and he's available, draft him. Don't be like, oh well, he wasn't as high on our board. I want to see. Honestly,
enough of these.
See the Niners board, like their big board.
Enough of these qualifiers as well. Oh, Ricky's a man beater, and that's why we had to have Ricky because he beats man cover. He doesn't play. He didn't get out there. Mikael Williams. We weren't looking for a pass rusher. We were looking for somebody who would set the edge on first and second down. And it's like, what? You drafted an edge rusher last year in the first round, and guess what? Maybe your number one need here in 2026 is edge rusher. So, I mean, especially after losing Bryce Huff, you really need an edge rusher. So, I mean, think about it. You have gone in the last 2 drafts in the first round for an edge rusher and a wide receiver. And if you talk to most Niner fans, they would say that what do we need most? An edge rusher and a wide receiver. And if Mikael Williams was just an awesome, like the best defensive end in football, we wouldn't need an edge rusher. If Ricky Pearsall was some incredible badass, we wouldn't need a receiver. But the fact is, this is the experience of following the Niners in the John Lynch era. They draft players at positions, and then when they miss on those players, they just double down and keep drafting players at those positions.
They got to do it again.
They drafted Solomon Thomas. It didn't work. Now here comes Javon Kinlaw. It didn't work. So now here comes Drake Jackson. It didn't work. So now here comes Mikael Williams. You know, it's like we drafted a bunch of receivers. None of them can play. So now here comes Pearsall. And it's like.
Although I will say this, I think Mikael Williams, he looked good. Like he's really good at edge, sitting the edge, run stuff. And I don't know how he's going to be coming back from the injury. That was a massive injury. But he's not the edge rusher that we still need. And to your point, we needed an edge rusher, a guy that could get to the quarterback. And that's not Mikael's game. Maybe it can develop. He's a good defensive lineman, but he's not an edge rusher. So you still drafted this guy, D lineman tweener, and you still need an edge rusher. So
I mean, like right now, like if I told you could have Mikael Williams or Walter Nolan, who would you rather have? I mean, Walter Nolan is an inside rusher, but he's 295 pounds.
I know last year I was very high on Walter Nolan, so I would have loved the pick. I do see why they took Mikael.
I'm not saying Mikael's garbage. Okay, we're not talking about like, hey, Mikael's garbage. We're not saying that. Mikael's got some real good traits. I'm just saying it cannot be lost on anybody that the Niners keep having to redraft at the same positions over and over again because they're either getting a player, but it's not the right player. They're getting a player, but not the player.
They're not getting the right guy at that spot. And that's the thing, because whatever they're looking for in that position, because they know the positions they need, but they get the wrong guy at the positions. Like, what are you looking at? And if you look at that's why I'm glad they traded the 3rd round pick for Osa
Odigizua.
Yeah, Osa. I'm so glad they got rid of that 3rd round pick because they historically, other than Fred Warner, their 3rd round picks have been so bad. Have you looked through?
They don't see it. They don't see the 3rd round. Yes, I get it. I'm with you. They picked a dozen donkeys in the 3rd round. I mean, you can't F up the 3rd round more than the Niners have F'd it up.
It's bad.
I mean, it's bad. It's bad. It's like
I looked at
Kella Witherspoon and
Jalen
Hurd.
Oh my God!
It's just donkeys.
Cam Latu. Oh,
Cam Latu, fucking kicker. I mean, come on. I mean, they're a 3rd round tire fire. So yeah, they made sense to
Danny Gray. That's right. Oh,
Danny Gray. God.
Ambry Thomas.
How about Ty Davis Price?
Yeah, DDP,
you know what Ty Davis? You know what Ty Davis Price's claim to fame was this year?
What was that?
We saw him in Baton Rouge at LSU, Florida, shooting T-shirts out of a cannon.
Oh my God,
that's where he is.
God. And then they got Trey Sermon
T-shirts.
That's terrible. Trey Sermon. Remember they thought, he's gonna be the guy. Oh my God.
Joe Williams.
Jesus Christ.
Ambry Thomas. I mean, it's a witness protection program. I mean, it's literally a bunch of nobodies. So yeah, you're right. Trading for Osa was a great move.
That was good because they know they can't draft.
Now here's the question. What do you do at edge? Do you draft a guy? Do you sign Joey Bosa and give him $10, $12 million for a year or two? Or do you trade another draft choice, maybe in the 4th round, or a player to the Vikings for Jonathan Greenard?
So you do both. You get the veteran. Now, whether they get Jonathan Greenard or Joey Bosa, that's Up to them. I don't care which one. I
Who would
would
you
be happy.
prefer?
I prefer Jonathan Greenard because he's younger, but you still have to give it the draft pick. So but again, just
Or a
like the
player.
Osa, but again, the Osa situation is you got a player that's going to be better than who you're going to draft, and I think it's the same situation. You get a player that's going to be better than who you draft in that 4th round. So I'm okay with that. Joey Bosa probably going to be, a good veteran for a year, maybe 2, probably a year. They've been giving out 1-year contracts this year. You still need to go get a rookie or, a good edge rusher. Even if you get Jonathan Greenard,
Yeah,
you
you
still
need
to
multiple
draft him.
guys.
Yeah, you need depth because the Niners substation injuries, it's bound to, something's going to happen. I hate to say it, but you got to get younger guys because eventually those older guys are not going to be the same. So you need to get the younger guys, get the depth. So 100% you do both. But whether they do the trade for the Vikings or get Joey Bosa, that's going to be up to them. If it's me, I'll do the trade, but I'll be happy with either way, either veteran.
No, I'm with you. I agree with you. I would go for Greenard, but Greenard costs you a pick, and Joey Bosa I do think would play really well for the Niners. Richard Sherman said on his podcast that the Niners' biggest need is safety. And he says, he goes, it gives me hesitation to just roll back with no competition for Malik Mustafa and Jair Brown. I think that's something they have to address both in the draft and by finding a veteran presence. Everyone can see the value a veteran safety brings. It calms the defense down, gives them validity. Safety is one of the more difficult spots to evaluate. If you get the right player, it could be Ronnie Lott, and you could take that guy, at any pick in the draft. Some of the greatest safeties are some of the biggest impact guys in the history of football. Caleb Downs in this draft is awesome. But then there's a couple other guys here. There's Dylan Thieneman from Oregon, who had an incredible 4.36 40 at the combine. Then there's Emmanuel McNeil-Warren from Toledo. Toledo is producing a lot of good DBs. This guy's big and long and rangy. Some people like Traden Stukes from Arizona, who's very fast. Genesis Smith is a really good player from Arizona State. Bud Clark, TCU, looked amazing at the Senior Bowl. AJ Halsey from LSU probably is a little bit more like, your father's safety, right? He's like an 80s safety. He's a thumper. He will hit you. He's like almost like a linebacker. There's Zakee Wheatley from Penn State who had really, really good numbers. If you looked at his numbers, Jalen Kilgore from South Carolina, VJ Payne from K-State's big. Talking about 6'3", 6'4", really good player. There's more behind that. I like some guys deep in the draft. Big fan. I like Cole Wisniewski from Texas Tech. I like Jalen Catalon from Missouri a lot. Really, really like Miles Rouser from ASU. So what do you think? I mean, where are you on the Niners safeties? Do you agree with Sherman? They have Marquis Siegel, they have Jair Brown, and they have Malik Mustafa. I like all 3 of these guys, to be honest. I don't know if there's a superstar in the bunch, but and if you could find a star, heck, go find one. What do you think? Do you see a star safety in this draft? Do you see a veteran or a trade candidate that they could get to impact safety? Or are you cool with what they got?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think safety is the biggest need, like Sherman said. I saw that, the other day, but I do think they need to upgrade at safety. I've just never been a Jair Brown guy. I thought he was going to be something when they drafted him, but unfortunately, 3rd round pick, he didn't pan out. I like Malik Mustafa. Last year, I'll give him a little bit of a pass. He didn't have his best season, but he was coming off a major injury, so I feel like he's still somebody that could develop into something. Siegel, up and down. He was a rookie. I like his potential, but yeah, I would love Thieneman if they can get him. If they can get like a really good safety, there's just not a lot out there. I wish they would have been able to get Minkah Fitzpatrick, but that, passed them by. Definitely, I think they need to upgrade. But also looking at this team last year, the safeties were definitely bad. They couldn't stop the run. They couldn't, defend the pass. But a lot of it in the secondary in general last year, I feel was limited because of the pass rush or the lack of pass rush in the defensive line. If they can help strengthen that defensive line, I think the safety play will be better this year. But I do agree with Richard Sherman that they do need to upgrade the safeties because I don't have a lot of faith in what they have right now. They're very young players, Siegel, Mustafa, and Jair Brown. I think most fans want to see Jair Brown out of there, but I still have some faith in Marquise Siegel and Malik Mustafa. They've had some moments. They're young. I still believe in them, but bring in a veteran to help, strengthen that room. Definitely 100%.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like, who are I was looking at a list of the best free agents. DJ Wanham just signed and Wyatt Teller just signed, but the list includes Debo, Hassan Reddick, Jauan Jennings, Taylor Decker, Jadeveon Clowney, Jermaine Pratt, Marshawn Lattimore, Stephon Diggs. Is there a free agent that you think they ought to still go after?
I mean, none of those guys. That's for sure. None of those guys. Everybody's been talking about
the Christian Kirk thing guarantees that Debo's
not coming back. And I still think Jennings might have a chance. He might tuck his tail under his, tuck his tail in and say, hey guys, because his market is not what he probably expected it to be. I think he was, inflated his market, thought it was going to be 20 million, 23. I just don't think people are valuing him that much. And I feel like he's more valuable for the 49ers than on any other team. They know the Niners know he's slow, but he'll still catch passes. He knows the system. He's a valuable blocker. I feel like the 49ers are his max potential. But, at this point, with Christian Kirk and Mike Evans into the fray, I don't see Jennings come back unless he just has to tuck his tail in and beg him and say, hey, guys, I love you. And they said they would welcome him back if they can figure out the price. I feel like another week or goes by and Jennings doesn't get signed, he might come back.
The one thing we know he's not signed, but we really have no idea what his market is or what's going on with his market. We know he wanted $20 million. We know he wasn't worth $20 million. The Niners quickly moved off of him to Evans and then quickly to Christian Kirk. Something tells me that if there was any chance at all of Jennings coming back, they would have, slow played their acquisitions at wide receiver a little bit more and given him some opportunity. I think the fact that they ran quickly to Evans and then pivoted quickly and signed Kirk. I don't.
Yeah, I
think Jennings is gone.
When I saw Kirk, I was like, oh yeah, there's no way.
I think the Kirk signing is really a great signing. Now, it's funny, Grant did a whole video going, he sucks as a receiver.
Yeah,
but you know what? He was really good in the playoffs and he can still run. And to me, how you played in the playoffs this year matters way more over your football card or what you did at A&M or what you did with the Cardinals years ago. The most recent, example of Christian Kirk, we saw him producing. He had 3 touchdowns in 2 playoff games and close to 150 yards receiving. And he's always been able to run, he's not a burner per se. He's not like a 4-2, 4-3 guy. But he's a mid 4-5 guy who can get deep. The other thing he can do is he can return kicks and he can return punts.
Yeah.
So I think I always liked him. He was a revelation at A&M. He was awesome at A&M. He came in as a freshman and immediately was great. Then he kind of had high press clippings and everybody thought he was going to be, God's gift. And I think he might have gone pretty high in the draft. Went to Arizona, kind of floated around a little bit, wound up with Houston last year. This will be the best offense he's been in. This will probably be the best quarterback that's ever thrown him the ball. I bet you anything Christian Kirk has a good career with the Niners.
I think he's going to have a solid year with the team. I was an underrated signing. Very, it's cheaper. If you look at it, you get Mike Evans and Christian Kirk, 2 solid veterans for basically $20 million. That's what Jennings wanted. You got 2 guys for the price of 1, right? And they're both good veterans.
And you needed to.
You needed to, yeah. You needed the depth. Well, look what happened last year. That wide receiver department got thin, and these guys are good professionals. They know how to run the routes, get open, they can separate. You can throw them both the deep ball, I agree with you. What you said, this is probably the best quarterback they played with. And, a couple years back, Christian Kirk, if you remember, he kind of blew up the free agent market. Remember when the wide receiver market went absolutely nuts?
Yeah, Balky gave him like $17 million or something.
Yeah, man, he blew up the market. Everybody's like, what? Christian Kirk? So he's got talent. He's been paid well before. He's here to prove himself and, playing a dynamic offense. I love it. He can be in the slot. He can return. And you got to remember, one thing you mentioned, now I don't think he's going to be the primary return man, but they did lose Sky Moore. He's going to compete. There's going to be a competition this offseason on who's going to be a return man. I think his name's going to be there.
I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to make a prediction right now. Here we are. We're sitting here. It's March 17th. By the way, happy
Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day to everybody.
St. Patrick's Day.
Christian Kirk will have better numbers than Debo and Jennings combined.
Wow. Okay, I like it. That's spicy. That's good.
I really believe it. I believe it. You put him seeing the football in this offense with these other weapons. You take Jennings and Aiyuk and put them in other offenses. I'll take Christian Kirk's production up against those two guys combined. What do you think of the two offensive linemen the Niners signed? Brett Toth comes from the Eagles. Vidarian Lowe comes from the Patriots. ESPN gave the Niners a pretty high grade in free agency, and one of the reasons they liked it is they liked the Vidarian Lowe signing. He's got 35-inch arms. Is he a guard? Is he a tackle? Is he a swing tackle? He's probably a backup. He played all 17 games this year, 4 starts. He backed up Will Campbell at left tackle in New England. And then the other guy, Toth, was an offensive tackle at Army and then came into the NFL. He's played guard and center. And my friends with the Eagles say you got a really good player and that he's very underrated and probably going to play pretty good football. What's your thoughts on those two guys? What's your thoughts on where they are offensive line wise? Is there an offensive lineman that you want in this draft?
Yeah, no, I think definitely. At the end of the day, they needed offensive line depth. I'm happy they got some offensive linemen because everybody's been screaming, get O-line, right? You lost Burford. You lost, you're probably going to lose Barch, which I'm fine with. He's a walking injury. So you get two guys that can replace, people that were really your big depth pieces on this line. If there was an injury, which sometimes happens on the O-line, you can plug these guys in. I'm really high on Brett Toth, the guy from the Eagles.
Yeah.
I've seen, his film. He looked good. He can play center. He can play guard. I feel like he's going to give Jake Brendel a little bit of comp. That's what you need. You need to get some competition, hit him in the mouth. Give him a little, look over my shoulder. Oh, this guy might take my job. Maybe it's going to make Brendel play better. Now, I know we're not high on Brendel, but hey, maybe it's going to make him play better. And again, it's just a good depth piece. Vidarian Lowe, I didn't really know him coming in when they signed him, but I've looked at him. I've looked at this, the film and everything. I've seen what everybody said. At the end of the day, we need a depth. So it's good to have some, a swing tackle possibly. So, hey, I'm happy. I'll take all the depth we can get at O-lineman. And, sometimes you go to a new team and you can really, take off on a team. So he's got some experience. And at the end of the day, I'm happy because the Niners grabbed some offensive line depth. I don't think it could be worse than what they had before, So, yeah, it is what it is. We mentioned him earlier, Jennings Duggar. We need a guard. We need a guard. We need a starting guard. They really have an empty kind of space at left guard. Go get Jennings Duggar, and I'll be a happy man. The mullet, George Kittle, the Iowa vibe. I feel like he would be a perfect culture fit for the Niners.
I don't know if Jennings Duggar is a tackle. He might, if he is, he's a right tackle.
Yeah.
He's either a right tackle or a guard, but I think he could be a very good guard for like the next 15 years. So I like that one a lot. I'm a big fan of Duggar, and they run the same system that the Niners run, which is an outside zone. And Duggar can run off the ball. I don't know about pass pro as a tackle. That's a question mark. But yeah, the rest of it, that's a great name. Couple other thoughts. One of the things I think is kind of interesting is, they were showing today the Niners have the worst yak receivers in the league. Mm-hmm. Yak over expected last year. Mike Evans was number 227 out of 238. Pearsall was 229 out of 238. Christian Kirk was a number 180 out of 238. If you look at that compared to the Niner receivers in 2023, Debo was number 1 yak receiver in the NFL. Aiyuk was the 8th best yak receiver in the NFL. Yak. I mean, Chris Bell, Tony Pauline, our buddy from Sportscada, is tied into the Niners. He says that look for the Niners to go after Chris Bell. Chris Bell might be the best yak. He's a great run after the catch receiver. The more I look at what the Niners have right now, the more I think take care of either the O-line or the edge rush in round 1, and maybe you trade back into the top of round 2. But then with your second round pick, maybe you go with Maybe you go with Chris Bell. Maybe you go with a big run after the catch receiver. I could see it.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's definitely weird when you see what the wide receiver room looks like now to what it used to be under Kyle. Because Kyle Shanahan, he's got the Yak Bros. That's like been his thing, Kittle and Aiyuk and Debo, and that's what it is. They got a whole different style of wide receivers now. I feel like Christian Kirk can do some yak, but you can throw him in the slot here and there, but he's always like that deep ball guy. You got Mike Evans, contested catch like king. He can go up and get it. He can be the red zone guy. He can do some yaks, but he's more that I'm going to route you and I'm going to catch it, and that's it, man. You can't stop me. So it's a whole different wide receiver room. It's kind of crazy. Even Ricky Pearsall, he's, a man guy, run the route, get open, separate, boom. I'm going to run that out route. It's crazy how the dynamics have changed. So you got to also realize they used to have Jimmy Garoppolo, and that's what you needed. You need to dink and dunk and scheme it and let him get the yak yards. And now you got Brock Purdy, who can throw it at different levels of the field. So I feel like now you're catering more towards Brock, and he can scramble a little bit more, and he can find the guy after he runs his route and gets open. He can do his checks and, look at the receivers at different levels. You remember the Chicago game, the freaking Houdini play. He's running. I don't know how he gets it off. That's Brock Purdy. You don't just need a yak guy because he's going to improvise. So I feel like it is a different wide receiver room because you have a different quarterback that you had a couple years ago. But also, like I said earlier, you still can get a good receiver that has that yak ability. And that's why I think the dude from Indiana, Cooper, that's my guy, man. If you're going to get a receiver early, go get me Omar Cooper. That's your yak, man. Holy moly, that'd be nasty.
I was thinking Zachariah Branch from Georgia, just what a burner he is. He's a 4-3 guy. I'll say this too. I think Christian Kirk, while he has not been a run after the catch guy, I think there's a lot of potential inside this offense for him to be much more of a run after the catch guy here than he ever was before. He had great run after the catch numbers at A&M. Yeah. This guy played last year 370 of Kirk's 500 snaps were out of the slot. So that's where he's going to play predominantly for the 49ers. And I think he's got big playability. I really do. I think there's big playability out of the slot for Christian Kirk. Tight end. This is another spot. I want to get your thoughts on tight end. We got a little bit of a breakdown today about George Kittle's kind of timeline, and yet the more I look at this, the more I think, God, I don't know if I believe any of this. It's like the guy blew out his Achilles in the playoffs. It was January. I don't want to hear that this guy's going to be ready in week 1. But Dr. Neil L. Atrash is his doctor. And basically he says, you are right where you want to be. You're going to play next year, a lot of football. George went on with Bussin' with the Boys and gave an update on his progress. He said he's got out of a boot 2 weeks ago. He's out of the boot. He doesn't use crutches around the house. He will be completely off crutches, he says, within 2 weeks. He says the rehabilitation is going great. He's trending in the right direction. The Niners go into this offseason with just George and Tonjes. And then after that, I don't like the other guys. I'm not a Farrell guy. I don't think he gives them anything. And as bad as Farrell is, Braden Willis is worse. And those guys are zeros.
It's so bad.
So I love Kittle. I want to see him come back, but to me, he's like pre or post Halloween. I'm saying post Halloween. I say he returns in November, not maybe early November. It may not be Thanksgiving, but I don't think it's going to be September. I don't think it's going to be October. This is an Achilles. This guy is a future Hall of Famer. You cannot just be cavalier with his rehabilitation. You have to carry it out to its, most, positive potential, result. And that means giving him a lot of rest. Where do you see tight end? And are the Niners going to go get a veteran? Like, part of me would be really happy if they went and signed like a TJ Hawkinson or somebody like that for like 1 year, like a real NFL tight end. Yeah. So George will not rush back and he will not sit there and be like, I need to do it. I need to get back. No. You're a Hall of Famer. You need to rehabilitate. I say go get TJ Hawkinson and maybe get a tight end as an undrafted free agent. But I don't think Kenyon Sadiq is going to fall to 27.
I wish.
And I don't think I would waste. They only have 6 picks. I don't think I would waste a pick on tight end. I think I'd rather sign a veteran tight end from somebody that's either cut loose after the draft. I'll say, I mentioned this in a stream earlier this week. I don't want to be repetitive, but I do like the idea. Tell me what you think of this one, of 1 year, $7 or $8 million for Waller, Darren Waller.
Yeah, I mean, he came back last year and looked pretty damn good. Didn't look rusty after retiring and becoming a rapper for a year.
Yeah, he looked good. He looked good with the Dolphins.
Good. Yeah, he looked good. Yeah, the whole tight end situation's crazy. Now I know Kittle's a super athlete. He, rehabs like crazy. He's a madman. He's probably going to try to push the play early. Like if you look at Achilles, it's 9 to 12 month recovery. The 9 month would be close to September, which I just don't see it. I agree with you. I don't know if he's going to be ready by that point. Maybe October again. And you don't want to rush him because you don't want to make George Kittle re-aggravate, do something crazy. But in that interview today, it was a big revelation. He says that he played through torn ligaments in his ankle, and that pretty much is probably what led to him tearing his Achilles. It's crazy. Like George Kittle's a warrior. He's tough. But for this medical staff to let him play through torn ligaments in his ankle is crazy. So that tells me George, no matter what, he's going to try to get there for week 1. Like he wants to play. He's a gamer. But you got to protect him from himself. And I agree. I think they should go get a tight end. Now, the guy I was really high on this offseason was David Njoku, but he met with the Ravens today. So I'm pretty sure he's going to sign with them. But if you can call his agent and be like, yo, I know he's meeting with the Ravens. We want him. Figure out a way to get Njoku, because then you don't have to rush George Kittle back. And again, the only tight end I'm drafting, if he's available and you can do it, go get Kenyon Sadiq. I mean, I know he's not going to be available at 27.
Pretty special,
but at some point, George Kittle's going to be gone during, and you got to replace him and get the heir apparent, just like Trent Williams. And last year, I wish they would have got Tyler Warren. Oh man, then you wouldn't have had this problem. But now you're in a position where you're like, you're in a position where you're like, you know what? If we could trade up, or if he's available, if somehow he slides to 27, you take that man. He's not going to be there at 27, but they got to figure out this tight end position, because other than Jake Tonjes and George Kittle, that tight end room is dog crap. Absolutely dog crap.
I mean, I like Tonjes quite a bit, but it's those other two guys.
They're so bad. But then again, okay, yeah, if let's say Kittle's not there for the first, let's say he's not there for the first 4 weeks, everybody's going to zone in on Jake Tonjes. And is he still going to have the impact of last year? Now you got a whole year of film on him. I don't know. I like Tonjes. I think he's a very good player, and he was very, underrated, and he stepped up. I don't know if he's going to have the same impact this year. I hope he does, but I agree. And the 49ers, other than George Kittle, really have not done a good job of drafting tight ends. We mentioned him, Braden Willis, Cam Latu, et cetera, et cetera. It's like they are so bad at drafting tight ends outside of George Kittle. I kind of don't want him to take a tight end. I want him to see there's much of it, but there's not much available other than, again, Njoku was the guy. I was like, okay, you can go get him. And now it's probably not going to happen.
Aiyuk. What do you think the plan is with Aiyuk? What's going on with Aiyuk? Why are they not just cutting Aiyuk and letting him go where he wants to go? Do they really believe? Is it possible that they're going to get a draft choice from somebody out of Aiyuk? And the more I look at this thing, the more I think that the idea of flipping him to the Commanders, either straight up or with some kind of a draft choice included one way or another for Luke McCaffrey, I think that makes a lot of sense. Okay, hear me out on this for just a second. One, we know Aiyuk wants to go to the Commanders. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think we all know that, right? I mean, that's pretty obvious. He wants to be a Commander. The 49ers, it's pretty obvious, have some issue here. They either think they're going to get something, want to get something, have told they're going to get something. I will say this. If you look at what Aiyuk would get contractually, most likely, if the Niners cut him loose, he probably has a vested interest in seeing the Niners trade him. It would be in Brandon Aiyuk's best interest to travel to his next team with his contract, not without. And so the 49ers, if they traded him, there's cap hit and this and that. There's penalties, dead cap, all that. There's dead cap either way, but it's different if you trade him as opposed to if you release him.
Yeah.
But I'm looking over at the Commanders, okay, and I'm looking at their team. This is what they have at wide receiver right now. Terry McLaurin, okay, they had him, but they added Treylon Burks, and the other day they signed Van Jefferson. Oh, and the other day they signed De'Ami Brown. And they drafted Jalen Lane out of Vautech, and he runs really fast, like in the 4.3s. So, and they have Luke McCaffrey right now, and they're talking about picking up Brandon Aiyuk, which would be 7 receivers. And they have 3 other guys, including former San Jose State star Nick Nash, on their offseason roster right now. They got 9 receivers under contract. None of them are Brandon Aiyuk, and there's talk that they want Aiyuk. That would give them a 10th receiver. So, I mean, think about it from the Niners' perspective. It's a big, it's a big PR thing more than anything, right? It's like, oh, you signed Aiyuk, and now you're getting nothing, and you're trading him. But you know what? The PR spin would really be quite different if somehow it was Aiyuk and a pick. And it wasn't not a high pick, but let's say Aiyuk and a 27 conditional pick for Luke McCaffrey. Or Aiyuk straight up for McCaffrey and potentially a 27 conditional pick going to either the Niners or the Commanders based on how McCaffrey and Aiyuk perform in 2026. Something like that, so that nobody's dangling, nobody's getting the better end of the deal. But I think that would be a great move for the Niners because McCaffrey could help you in the return game. Luke McCaffrey coming to the Niners would be a positive story. Now it's not a negative story. It's more of a positive story. Daniels gets his best buddy in Aiyuk. The Niners get a McCaffrey reunion. It's positive PR over here. It's positive PR over there. I don't think it's crazy. I don't know what Luke McCaffrey is technically worth in a trade. But I'm looking at his year last year. He had 15 targets. He caught 11 balls, looks like 203 yards, 3 touchdowns, 18.5 yards per reception, 0 drops, 106 routes run, 72.8 grade, up from 54.3 was his rookie year grade. He was limited as far as his time due to injury. He did have some potential, show some potential as a downfield receiver. But what do you think? I mean, to me, that would be the win-win. That would make the Niner fans go, okay. And that would make the Commander fans, I definitely don't think they would miss Luke McCaffrey. And I definitely think that Luke McCaffrey joining the Niners, I don't know if I was Washington, if I would do it straight up because of the injury to Aiyuk. But if everybody's healthy, Aiyuk's way better than Luke McCaffrey, as we know. But if you wanted to throw a conditional pick in there because you wanted to protect yourself one way or another, either the Niners did or the Commanders did, I think that's reasonable as well. I think this would be a smart move. You have Mike Evans. McCaffrey is not, Evans is going to be that continuity piece. You've got Christian Kirk, who's more of a downfield threat, more of an explosive guy. You really need that, whatever back-end receiver you add in this thing to be a special teamer, jack of all trades, gadget guy. And, Luke McCaffrey could do that role. So I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it would be, not only would be a great trade, I also think it would be a great public relations save by the 49ers if they could do it.
I mean, it'd be a good PR story. Luke McCaffrey, you asked me what do I think his value is. He's a 7th-round pick. I mean, that's maybe the max.
Was he a 7th-round pick? Is that what you're saying?
No, that's the value I think you get out of him. Like Luke McCaffrey, I think he was undrafted at the end of it. Or maybe he was.
I think he was a 4th
drafted,
round.
Was he?
I think he might have been a 4th-round pick.
Someone in the chat will look. I can't remember. But
we'll look it up.
At the end of the day, I'm not gonna. Oh my God, we got Luke McCaffrey. But it would be a fun story because now you got the McCaffrey brothers, and if they potentially get the Bosa brothers, I mean, the story.
Third round pick, actually a third round pick.
Oh wow, okay, that's crazy to me.
Yeah,
but he's probably
they reached, but he's probably not worth a third round pick.
He got drafted because his brother's name, the McCaffrey name, and his father's name. But at the end of the day, it's a great story. But I think the reason why they're holding on to Brandon Aiyuk is a couple things. I mean, hey, he made us wait. So at this point, the Niners owe it to themselves to see if, we can squeeze something out of you. We're going to do it. You're going to wait. You're going to wait. We're going to have you held hostage. We're going to lock you up, throw out the key. We're going to wait. If we can't get anything, we'll release you with the June 1st designation. But we don't owe it. The Niners don't owe releasing.
No, I agree with you. The Niners absolutely do not owe him a thing.
Yeah. But hey,
I agree.
McCaffrey, 3 touchdowns. That's 3 more than Ricky Pearsall got last year. So that's a good
right.
Thing. But I think if you get Luke McCaffrey, that's a guy that can compete to be a return man. Nothing more. I don't think he does anything in the passing game, but he could be a return man. And the great story of, oh my God, Christian McCaffrey and Luke McCaffrey on the same team. Oh my God. Like that is.
Well, it would be a good story.
Yeah, for sure.
It would be a good story.
Am I going to go crazy if we get him and say, oh my God, he's going to be Pro Bowler? No, but it'd be a fun story.
No, but I'm not really, I'm just looking for, can he make your team? Could he make your team? And I think he could probably make the team.
I think he could make the 53-man roster.
And I think it would be a good vibe. Dick Sherman weighed in on Christian Kirk. Let's hear this. I want to hear what Sherm has to say about Kirk. Let me get to it. Hold on. Everybody's so tight.
Christian McCaffrey and Luke McCaffrey would definitely be
cool.
He'd get him on the Cabo crew, you know?
Yeah, that's what they need. No, but I mean, I think Luke McCaffrey can play. And I obviously Aiyuk's better, but Luke McCaffrey absolutely can play. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Let me see here. Make sure I've got the right sound where it's supposed to be. Yes. Okay, here it is.
The San Francisco 49ers also picked up Christian Kirk, receiver, formerly of the Houston Texans, who had a really, really good playoff run last year. Houston got decimated with injuries, and he made a really good impact and helped them stay in these games and beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in that playoff game. It's a solid move. He's a veteran receiver, and I don't think you can have enough vet receivers. He's a guy who can take the top off the defense, and that's what he's done historically. He's a little older than he used to be, but I think he complements this offense well. I think he'll fit soundly with what Kyle Shanahan likes to do in this offense, and obviously there's a lot of respect coming from Brock Purdy. I like the move. It's an affordable piece, and I think they'll get as much bang for their buck as possible with this, along with Mike Evans and Ricky Pearsall being more healthy and staying in his role. These are all good moves for the San Francisco 49ers and the health of this team and the future of this team in a very difficult division that they're going to have to compete in each and every week.
Well, we learned something new there. Christian Kirk is getting older. He is getting older. Yeah. While you and I, we, of course, are getting younger.
No, we're getting older, Larry. I'm getting older.
You're getting older?
Are you Benjamin Button?
Yeah, no, I try to go to the gym. I was at the gym today. The people at the gym said you're getting younger. No, you're getting older. All right, let's hit our supers. One more mention of our sponsors and we'll bolt for the door. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out, and they do run out. So get there early, get some brisket chili. Tell them that Krug sent you. Also, thanks to our good friends at Habbas Law. And once again, Habbas Law is doing a very cool thing on March 28th at the San Jose Animal Care Center. They are paying for every single pet adoption. They're paying all the adoption fees, every dog, every cat, every bunny, everything. So that's going to be very, very cool. 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., 2750 Monterey Road. Habbas Law, rough on injustice with a heart for paws. Also, thanks to Alomar Marina. Check them out, 5999 Garden Highway. Thanks to Novato Chevrolet. I will only buy a Chevrolet from Novato Chevrolet. And also thanks to our good friends at Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. My good friend Anthony Catania is at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California, on the Monterey Peninsula. Give him a call. He's at 831-521-5264. All right, let's hit our supers and we'll bolt. And we got this one from Sunday Living. You know what would be gangster? I got to use that word more. I got to use gangster more. No, Sunday Living. What would be gangster? Trade for Joey Bosa and then trade BA for McCaffrey. Have savage as fuck duos of brothers. Yeah, there you go.
I told you the fans would eat it up. They'd go like Niner fans.
How many brother tandems are there in the league? There's Quinnen and Quincy Williams.
Okay.
There's Luke and Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
There's Joey and Nick Bosa.
Okay.
Once upon a time, there was Rondé and TK Barber.
There's the dude that used to be on the guy that has one arm. What's his name?
Arm?
Didn't his brother? Didn't he have a brother in there?
Yeah.
He used to play on Seattle.
Yeah. What was his name? Damn, I forget. Yeah, he was a one-armed guy.
Yeah, legit.
Didn't work out. There was Michael Sam and Christian Sam.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Michael Sam had a brother. Yeah, there you go. There's probably a bunch more that we're not thinking of. I bet you.
The crazy thing is, like, if the Niners were to do, like, Niner fans go crazy. If they would have got, like, obviously Terrell Owens' son, they ate that up. If they would have got Jerry Rice's son, Terrell Owens' son,
who didn't do anything. Jerry Rice's kid has done nothing.
No, none of those guys do anything. But
Terrell Owens' son was not good.
The fact that all these kids, if they would have had the legacy kids on this team, it doesn't matter. Niner fans, they'd go crazy. Shaq Griffin, that's the guy.
Shaq Griffin and it was Shaq Griffin and Shaquem.
Yeah.
Griffin,
you got the Diggs brothers, Stephon and Trayvon. The Watt brothers.
Who? Who's the last one you said?
So the Watt brothers, JJ, TJ. How do we miss that? Yeah.
JJ, TJ, and also isn't there a fullback?
Might be Travis and Jason Kelsey.
Kelsey's, but they're no longer there.
Derek Watt. You're right. Derek Watt. Nick and Joey, Stephon and Trayvon Diggs. Peyton and Eli Manning, of course.
Yeah.
Devin and Jason McCourty. Rondé and Tiki Barber. Shaquille and Shaquem Griffin.
Yep.
Tremaine, Terrell, and Trey Edmonds. Sterling
Amon-Ra and Equanimous St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Equanimous St. Brown.
Sterling and Shannon Sharp. And then Michael and Martellus Bennett.
Well, I mean, if we want to go all time, I mean, Dewey Selman and Leroy Selman for the Buccaneers back in the 70s. Those kind of
Pouncey twins.
The Pouncey twins.
Cars.
The Youngbloods, right? Wasn't there Jack and Jim Youngblood?
Yeah. Someone said the Mario Brothers.
T1942 says Brown gets cooked every time on the post route.
Every time.
Yeah, I love Brown. I do think he needs better coaching. In EV we trust. Thoughts on Kyle Duggar? I like Kyle Duggar. He was at New England. Steelers picked him up last year. I thought he played well for the Steelers. He's still a free agent. He's out there. That's not bad. He's a little stiff in coverage. Don't love him as a cover player. I really loved him in college coming out. I thought he was going to be great for New England. He wound up just being pretty good. Then he went to Pittsburgh. I thought he played well for the Steelers. I have to look into that a little bit more. Steven Reynolds says, since they signed Greenlaw, I hope they keep D. Winters at strong side linebacker because he's fast and has NFL experience, and Nick Martin can still learn from Uncle Dre. Yeah, I mean, they got great depth now at linebacker. I mean, I still think they need a linebacker, but a young fast
linebackers they need. They got 200.
Yeah, here's the thing though. Greenlaw's probably going to get hurt. Warner's probably going to get hurt. You got a lot of older guys.
Come on, don't tell me Warner's going to get hurt.
You got older guys. Yeah, anytime you have older guys, you got to have depth. And not only that, you got Garrett. You have 6 guys, but you have Greenlaw injury prone, Warner coming off a major injury and he's older, and then you have Garrett Walla who's a special teamer, and then you have Luke Gifford who's a special teamer. So you have 2 special teams linebackers and 2 guys that are long in the tooth. And then you have Tatum Bethune and D. Winters and Nick Martin. So I don't know. If Nick Martin is a stud, then they're set. They're fine. They're good. But if Nick Martin's a bust, they may need one more linebacker. And I don't know the answer to that, really. JC says Dre was flying around against New England in the AFC Championship game. I have hope. You know what? He had a 90 grade that day.
He was good. He came on late in the season. He missed a lot of the early part.
He's a great player, man.
But when he was healthy down the stretch, and that's what I think we're getting. Healthy Dre Greenlaw.
Well, hey, you know what? Even if he's healthy for a short amount of time, having a guy, and I know you and I have talked about this many times, but having a player like Dre Greenlaw, who it means everything to him, is a great example for everybody else. You got to have one guy in that room who's a badass, who it means everything to, and he's going to play with his hair on fire and he's going to run through walls. Why? Because that means every other guy in that room has to play to that level, and they do. They respect this guy. I'm happy he's back. I want to see them go younger. You know that, but
I know, but you got your boy
guy's
back.
The exception.
He's the energy. He's what they feed off, the tone setter, if you will. And you know what, Larry? You get to wear your Dre Greenlaw shirt.
I know, dude. And you know what? I actually shouted out your buddy who got me that Greenlaw shirt. Can you name that guy again and name his company? Because I'd love to give him a shout out.
Unfortunately, Larry, I tell you, I don't know if you know this, but he passed away last year. He doesn't have the business is no longer. So so you have a very rare shirt.
Wow. So let's tell that story. Basically, Raj wore the Dre Greenlaw t-shirt on the show, as he always wears something Niners on the show. And I was like, oh, that is fucking awesome, bro. I got to have that. The guy who owned the company, the t-shirt company, heard me on the stream saying that, and he sent me one 2XL, and I have it. It's awesome. I mean, it's
nice. He was a super nice guy. I talked to him. I helped him with his business. I know I got him a lot of sales and stuff, but his product was always good. I always wore it, and I didn't ask for any money. I just thought he was a nice guy, and I wanted him to succeed. But yeah, last year he ended up passing away.
That's too bad.
His wife reached out and was like, hey, so I donated to their GoFundMe. I went to the funeral. It was sad stuff.
And the family's no longer selling Niner stuff, right? Yeah. JC New York 49ers says Evans, Kittle, CMC, Pearsall, Waller, red zone would be unstoppable. Yeah. I mean, Waller at $7 million for 1 year.
Yeah, I'm down with that, man.
Yeah, that would be very exciting. I think he could be really good.
Yeah.
As opposed to trying to find somebody in the draft and then coaching him up, and you know how complicated the Niner offense is, and what if the guy doesn't learn? By the time he learns, Kittle's coming back. You know what I mean? It's like, it's important. If you had Waller, you might be able to hit the ground running. He could have a huge September and be, you got to win games early. And Waller, I think, would be a phenomenal get. We got this one from Just XN111, Emmanuel McNeil Warren, Toledo. Yeah, I love him. He's going to be there. Now, he's not the athlete that Nicky Manwari is, but he's big and rangy and very talented. Eric Kendricks or Winters? I say Eric Kendricks, trade Winters. Eric Kendricks is a free agent, right? Yeah. He's out there. They're not bringing him back.
If they already got Dre Greenlaw, they're not bringing back. Although, I like this. I like Mabo.
I like Kendricks.
I like what he's saying. Trade winners. They got it. We just said they got a bevy of linebackers. They got so many linebackers. What do you do? Maybe you trade one of them, and then you can bring back Kendricks.
Winters would be the guy that would fetch.
Yeah,
because he's got some good numbers. He's fast.
Trade your winners.
Yeah, I mean what do you think you could get for him? 5th round pick, 4th round pick?
Right, 5th round pick.
Yeah,
they've done it a couple years ago. Remember, a couple years ago they had like a ton of linebackers that were really good, and they traded to Denver, and they got like a 5th or 6th round pick.
Oh yeah, I remember that. And the guy they traded was talented too.
Yeah, Griffith, I think.
Yeah, Jonas Griffith.
He's pretty good.
And he played well for them.
Yeah, he did.
Big 6'4" linebacker, showed up in camp, super athletic. I mean, that's what, more than anything, he said, what do I really want to see departure from last year to this year from the Niners in the offseason? I want to see them get down and dirty and fight it out with their scouts and their people for the undrafted best players. Go after the undrafted market like you have when you got Al Shire, when you got Green, when you got Kevin Givens, when you got Raheem Mostert. Be aggressive in the undrafted market and pick off 4 or 5 guys. And if you can do that, I think that's a major one, because that doesn't cost you a lot of money. It doesn't cost a lot to participate in that. All right, that is going to do it for us. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Thanks to Raj. Raj, I'll give you the final word. What do you got cooking the rest of the week? The grind never ends. I know you just embrace the grind, but I'll give you the final word.
Embrace the grind and embrace the Bosa brothers. Let's go. Let's get Joey.
Bosa, Osa, Bosa.
Let's do it.
I love it. I love it.
I love
Thanks, everybody. Peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you won't get exactly.